Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am BorderWise and welcome to the CRAM Cannon Showcase of two of my vessels, the Naga and the Skilla. Someone requested that I show off the guns that I was demonstrating in my two previous From the Depths videos, so here they are. We're going to take a quick look at them. To start off with, I need to say that the thing with CRAM cannons is you need to be good at Tetris. Literally. And to start off with, showing you what I mean, this here is the original turret of the Skilla, or a close replica of. And it's quite simple to set up. It's got a core of 6-way connectors, it's got autoloaders radiating out, and the pellets and ammunition is in the sides here. And a cross-section of it looks like this. So, you have the core of 6-way connectors, you have these things radiating outward. Is this arranged right? Yes, it is. Cool. And you have the ammunition and high explosive on the outside. Now, the trick with CRAM cannons is you want as many of these pegs on the autoloaders poking into the pellets as you can. Because these pellets are really expensive. You don't want to use more high explosive pellets than you have to. You end up with a really expensive gun. So, this little setup here is really easy to make, but it's inefficient because each high explosive pellet has 2 autoloaders attached to it. That's not ideal. What you really want is something like this. It's now being attached to 4 of them, which doubles the packing rate, which is a very good thing if you actually want a decent shell. And I will show you quickly the power on this thing. Wait for it to reload now. Dumpty-doo. CRAMs take a long time. So this particular gun, fully crammed, well not fully crammed, fully reloaded, roughly 2,300 explosive damage. Which is actually quite piddly by CRAM standards, but this is a small gun and it's easy to make. Now for a more efficient gun, you need to go to the main gun of the Naga. This is, or rather one of them. There's actually 3 variants of the main gun on the Naga, and I will actually spawn the Naga in so I can show you right here. Here you go, Naga. So you'll notice that there are 6 turrets and 3 types of turret. You have the ones here, they're short, long-barreled. You have the taller turrets here, nice and tall with long barrels, and the ones in the middle here, slightly shorter barrels. And you can tell that because the accuracy isn't as good. That's 0.68 in accuracy in there as opposed to this, which is 0.54. Not actually ideal, but anyway, what can you do? You get out of here for a second. And so, the Naga turret is way more efficiently put together than this turret right here. Well, for one thing, it's 2 guns in one turret, and CRAM cannons can share pellets. And it's actually quite handy for that, because it means you get 2 medium guns rather than 1 really big one. And it tends to be the case with this game that like multiple smaller weapons tend to work better than just 1 big one, just because, I don't know, it's redundancy. If one gets blown up, the other one keeps firing, and it actually is a little bit more in terms of damage. And if you're wondering what this line of wood running down the middle of these 2 barrels is, that's a barrel guard, but it doesn't guard the barrels, per se. This is to speed up the repair of these gun barrels, because it means that when this thing gets, say, blown up right here, blown up, usually what'll happen is that this repairs very slowly because it does meter by meter, and that's a pain in the butt. If you have this down the middle, 4-meter blocks, particularly if they're cheap, like these wooden ones, get repaired quite fast. So it gets blown up, This gets repaired in absolutely no time flat, and it means that further sections of the barrel can get repaired. Which is very clever, I'm pleased I thought about that. But onto the gun itself, the arrangement of it is a little bit more cunning. It's still the four-way radiating thing that was in this turret over here, the difference being it's more efficient, it's Tetrised together quite well. So it has, on each flat plane, it has 5 explosive components, and every one of them is being touched by 4 autoloaders. So this thing packs very quickly, and the ammunition is all on the outside, and that's fine. Ammunition, you can get away with sticking it on just one autoloader pin, or even sticking it onto 6-way connectors. And now, the real trick here is how do you get it in 2 guns? And it's simultaneously quite simple and quite irritating, because while CRAM cannons can share pellets, and they can share, well, they can only share pellets. That's the only thing they can share. If these 6-way connectors touch, or even worse, if the gauge increases touch, everything goes to one gun and the other gun gets nothing. Not ammunition, not increased size, not anything. So you don't want that. You want to keep the 6-way connectors and the gauge increases separate, which is why this top part of the turret structure is not symmetrical. It kind of snakes up. One half here goes to one gun up top, and the other half goes to the other gun. So you can kind of follow it right here. In fact, I can paint it. Watch this. So from this gun right here goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, down this little tube right here, and down this little tube right here. And the other one is going to be in hot pink. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down there, and 1, 2 down there. And this is actually quite a good way to build these things if you're going for multiple guns in one turret, is to color the connectors and the gauge increases separately, so you can actually tell which is which, and you can see in 3D how they snake about each other. And so that is probably the best overall way to build a CRAM cannon, or simply, it's definitely one of the more effective ways. You can get creative with things like you can have 6-way connections on these. You can have one of these things here, a explosive pellet, and you can somehow, I've tried this before, it's failed miserably. You can have, actually, let's do this. You can try and stick 6 connectors on it. So it looks something like this. And this is very difficult. And I don't know. It tends to take a while. So this method I've yet to see work. But I'm assured it can be done. Like this. So you can barely even see that right now, and that is the maximum amount of connections you can have to a single pellet. Which I haven't tried yet, but on that note we'll move on to not an effective but an efficient way of doing the gun, and this is the new improved skillet turret. And you will note, looking at the front and the back and the sides, the sides right there, that this is not symmetrical. There's a reason for that. This gets similar reload speed and power for about half the amount of pellets that the original one does, and it's because it's got a little core in here and 4 connections. That's important. 4 connections all around, and it looks like this in a cross section. So you have 2 pillars of connectors, each with 2 autoloaders on them, and they surround these pellets right in the middle. And ammunition goes on the end, and 1, 2, 3, 4 ammunition connectors, which means it still reloads quite fast. It is not quite as powerful as the original. So remember, the original was roughly 2,300. This one is around 2,000. Yeah, about close to 2,100, which is a little bit less, and I believe the reload speed is also a bit worse. This is about 8.12 seconds. Actually, the reload speed's identical, never mind. But the payoff here, this thing, if I just save it, is around 2,214 material, or dollars I guess you could call it. The new improved version is 2,049 materials. So this is about 150 materials cheaper, which is quite a consideration for the Skilla because it has 18 of them. And if I can find the damn thing here. So 18 guns. New and improved version is 150 materials less. That's about 2,700 materials I've saved with this craft simply by arranging the CRAM cannons in a better way, which is quite clever. I'm quite pleased by that. And what else we can say? Ah yeah, I should possibly go over the variants of here because these three guns here are pretty much all the same. They have a timed fuse on them, an inertial fuse. They hit something, they explode. It's quite simple, really. However, the tall turret of the Naga is a little bit different. If I can place it right there. This thing doesn't just have high explosive, it has frag rounds. Now, fragmentation pellets aren't nearly as powerful or as damage dealing as high explosive. I've messed around with it. Pure frag CRAM cannons are just not good enough. They're just not efficient in terms of cost and the damage they deal. However, if you miss, they are really good with timed fuses because if it's just short of the target, the frags still do things like clip gun barrels off and just kind of, you know, they scratch the paint of other ships, which is quite handy. And I've seen multiple times just frags get in places that you might not expect them to. So the explosive blows a hole in the side of a ship, and the frags can actually get in and damage vital components through the hole, which is very, very nice. And I will show you what I mean. Maybe not that. By shooting the Skilla. So, properly recorded CRAM cannon can do some impressive damage. And it's all down to the Tetris. So, I hope you found that enlightening. These are not the best ways to build a CRAM cannon in this game, but it is among the most reliable. And you get good, solid, reliable results. And you can, of course, make them much bigger than this. These are roughly 1,000mm. You can get twice as big. But, in any case, I hope this video has been helpful for that. Hope you've learned something, hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And I will see you next time in From the Depths. Farewell!